Most people believe that success begins the moment they speak their goals out loud. They think saying it makes it real. They think telling others will hold them accountable. They think public commitment is the missing ingredient that will finally push them to change. So they announce their plans, share their intentions, post their routines, and promise big transformations. For a moment, it feels powerful. It feels like progress. But psychology tells a very different story. In reality, the people who quietly work toward their goals without talking about them are often the ones who succeed the most. You've seen this pattern again and again. Someone declares they're starting a new habit, a new business, a new lifestyle, or a new version of themselves. They receive encouragement, attention, and praise. Likes roll in, comments support them. And for a brief moment, it feels like the journey has already begun. But inside the brain, something subtle and dangerous happens. When you talk about a goal publicly, your brain receives a psychological reward before the effort has even started. Dopamine is released not only when you achieve something, but when you are socially recognized for intending to achieve it. This phenomenon is known as premature reward. Your brain struggles to distinguish between doing the work and being praised for planning the work. As a result, the urgency quietly disappears. The discomfort that drives consistency fades. Motivation drops without you noticing. That's why loud ambition so often burns out, while silent effort compounds. People who rarely talk about their goals don't allow their brain to feel satisfied until real progress is made. Their reward system stays aligned with action, not attention. Silence keeps hunger alive. Silence preserves momentum. There is another layer beneath this that most people never realize, and it has to do with identity. When you tell people who you are going to become, your brain begins to accept that identity too early. You say you're going to be disciplined, successful, productive, focused, or fit, and your mind relaxes as if the transformation has already begun. But identity should be built through behavior, not declared through words. Quiet achievers delay identity claims. They don't call themselves disciplined until discipline becomes automatic. They don't call themselves successful until success becomes normal. They don't perform a future version of themselves. They earn it slowly through repetition. This creates internal pressure instead of external performance. In American culture, especially, visibility is celebrated. We're taught to share our goals, document our journeys, and build accountability through exposure. But multiple psychological studies show the opposite effect. Private goal commitment leads to higher follow-through. When no one is watching, motivation turns inward. You stop performing improvement and start practicing it. Silence removes the urge to impress and replaces it with the need to improve. There is also a protective power in keeping goals private. The moment you share an unfinished plan, you invite opinions, expectations, advice, and judgment. Even positive feedback creates pressure. People ask how it's going. They expect updates. They unconsciously attach timelines to your growth. That pressure can turn progress into anxiety. Quiet goal setters protect their mental energy. They give themselves permission to fail privately, adjust strategies, and continue without embarrassment. Psychologists refer to this as reducing cognitive load. When your brain is not busy managing other people's expectations, it has more capacity for execution. Silence also changes how you relate to failure. When goals are public, failure feels public. It feels like an identity threat. When goals are private, failure becomes data. It becomes feedback. You can experiment without fear. You can restart without explaining. You can pivot without shame. This freedom dramatically increases long-term consistency. Another reason people who don't talk about their goals succeed is because silence forces systems. Talking about goals feels productive, but systems are what actually produce results. Systems are boring. They don't feel exciting. They don't generate applause. They are routines, schedules, constraints, and environments designed to make progress inevitable. People who move in silence invest in these invisible systems. They remove friction instead of chasing motivation. They design their environment to support behavior. They reduce decision fatigue. They show up even when they don't feel inspired. Over time, systems outperform motivation every single time. There is also a misunderstood signal hidden in silence: confidence. Truly confident people don't need to announce what they're working on. They trust themselves enough to let results speak later. Loud goal sharing often hides uncertainty. Quiet progress reflects self-trust. This doesn't mean successful people never share anything. It means they share outcomes, not intentions. They speak after the work is done, not before. Think about the most disciplined, capable people you admire. Chances are, you didn't hear about their plans at the beginning. You noticed them after consistent action had already changed them. That pattern is not accidental. Silence creates space for focus. It protects consistency. It allows growth without comparison. It keeps goals flexible instead of fragile. When you work in silence, you can change direction without explaining. You can struggle without being judged. You can grow without competing. Silence also strengthens your relationship with effort. When no one is watching, effort becomes honest. You're not doing it for praise, you're doing it because you decided to. That builds integrity, and integrity compounds. Day by day, quiet work builds quiet confidence. You begin to trust yourself. You stop needing external validation. You stop announcing beginnings and start respecting endings. This is why success often looks boring from the outside. It's repetitive, it's uneventful, it's invisible. But beneath the surface, it's powerful. If you are working on something meaningful right now, your health, your career, your creativity, your personal growth, consider protecting it. You don't need validation to begin. You don't need witnesses while you struggle. Let the work feel boring. Let the progress stay invisible. Let consistency replace intensity. Let silence do its job. Because success doesn't need announcements while it's being built. It only needs commitment. And when the results finally show, they won't need explanation.